The book I will be talking about is Elsewhere by Gabrielle Zevin. It was published in 2005. I chose this novel because my mom recommended it to me a while ago and I've never had the chance to read it. The thing that intrigued me the most about this book was definitely that it was written by Gabrielle Zevin. I have read a few of her books and I loved every single one of them, so I decided to read this one. 15-year-old Liz, formerly known as Elizabeth Hall, had awoken in a strange bed. She was on her way to Elsewhere. Elsewhere is a place for the afterlife. Elsewhere is a place similar to Earth, yet so much different. On Elsewhere, Liz is forced to live in reverse. She will age backwards from the day of her death to a baby again. At that age, she will then return back to Earth and start a new life. Liz is not happy with this. She wants to turn 16, not 14 again. She wants to grow up and get her driver's license. She wants to graduate high school and go to college. But now she's dead. She can't experience any of those things. She is forced to live on Elsewhere in a house with her grandmother whom she just met. Things could not be any more horrible for Liz. But eventually, Liz starts to realize that she likes it on Elsewhere. She likes the people here, and she's definitely going to miss it when she leaves. I think the most interesting part in my book is when Liz starts to become more accepting about the fact that she is dead. Throughout the book, she is miserable over the fact that she's in Elsewhere. But there's a point where she starts realizing that there's going to be other opportunities to live again. This particular moment caught my attention the most because I felt like I could connect with her. There are things that I'm not happy with, but it's good to look on the bright side. Things aren't always going to go the way you planned, but that could be a reason to get back up and try again. On the other hand, I didn't necessarily like how there wasn't a backstory of Liz. The story just started with her on her way to Elsewhere. There were details about her death, but nothing about who she was before she died. We weren't really told about what she was like when she was alive. It would have been nice to have some details about that. I would give this book 4 out of 5 stars. The criteria that helped me come up with this rating was that the characters grew throughout the story. I find it so interesting when you can clearly tell how far the characters come from the beginning. I like when the characters change throughout the story, and I think Liz definitely appreciates and values life and relationships more as the story progresses. This book was really hard to put down, and I kept finding myself reading it, and I just couldn't stop. Throughout the book, I would think about what the characters were thinking. I felt like I wasn't just reading the book, I felt like I was living the book, if that makes sense. The ending left me hanging a bit. The ending made me want to read a sequel. I like when the ending of stories makes me want to read another book. I wish the story was a series because it would be amazing to read about Liz's new life. The thing that really brought down the good about this book was that it wasn't written in the first person. I like having the main character narrate the story. This was honestly the only thing that bugged me while reading this. I find it so hard to read third-person narrations, but other than that, it's an amazing story. I would definitely recommend this book to someone else my age. This book makes me value life a little more. I could make so many plans for the future, but that could all be taken away from me. Things can end so suddenly, and it scares me to think that at any moment everything could be gone. I think by reading this book, others can learn to appreciate the little things a little more. I think anyone can enjoy this book. However, I think teenage girls would like this book a little more, just because the main character is a teenage girl, and it's a story about how her life ended so quickly. I think people my age can relate to this book a little more, since there are things we aren't able to experience yet. We'd be extremely devastated if we were unable to live through getting our driver's license or graduating. That's why I think girls my age would like this book, because we can relate to it. I have read a couple books by this author, but I would definitely read more. Her books are well written and have amazing plot details and great character growth. She's a great author, and I definitely recommend reading her books.